We humans have long had information we share orally and later recorded this in handwriting, then printing, then stored on individual computers, and lately have a shared cloud of data in our common computer systems. This is not wholly new. We even have an ancient tale that Moses was the first to download to a pair of tablets from the cloud. Come, let us worship together. Norbert Wiener defined cybernetics in 1948 as the scientific study of control and communication in the animal and the machine. Over the decades, an English word root cyber came to modify many words to show computer assistance, reliance, or focus, as in cybersecurity, cyberbullying, cybercafe. Remember those before the pandemic? Cybercrime, cyber savvy, and many more. I've long defined secular spirituality in my own thoughts as the information that is in relationships between people rather than in just one brain. This is inspired by concepts of team spirit and esprit de corps, where a group of people coordinate their actions. What I am looking to do next, or how I'm working with others, is different at work and among my co-parents and children. There's a work team spirit and a home hearth spirit. There are many more examples for each of us. My home also has several virtual assistants in the cloud. Um, for instance, with my phone, I can turn off my lamps, or I can also, Alexa, turn on Dennis's lamp. In addition to Amazon Echoes, we have phones with SIRI and OKGOOGLE, which I spell to not have them listen right now. They control several outlets, our microwave oven, provide intercom and a PA system between our home's rooms, play music and games, and more. They also are always listening and sometimes erroneously add misheard phrases to our shopping lists and cause other mischief. Each new technology introduces both new horrors and new wonders. When Dickens said it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, he was speaking of all times. Now we bring in our introit number 347, Gather the Spirit.
Gather the spirit, harvest the pall. All separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this all. All trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Our minds, our societies, our cultures, and our global multiculture are all evolving within a reality that we mold in images of our own creation. We are a figment of reality, but reality is increasingly a figment of us.
Our hymn this morning is Turn the World Around.
We've just been introduced. I do not know you well.
Okay, can I start now?
Okay, nobody's
Let me
nerfed.
know when. Okay, now, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living in the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Whoa, so is life. Ah, so is life. Whoa, so is life. Ah, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do I know who you are? One another clearly. Do we know who we are? Whoa, so is life, Maria. So is life. Oh, so is life, Maria. So is life. Water makes the river wash the mountain. Fire makes the sunlight turn the world around. Heart is of the river, body in the mountain. Spirit in the sunlight turn the world around. We are of the spirit, truly of the spirit. Only can the spirit turn the world around. Ah, so is life, Maria. So is life. Whoa, so is life, Maria. So is life.
Thank you, Olga. That was wonderful. Later, we'll be discussing 5 questions. Other than the obvious Zoom worship we're sharing and any online or remote work, how are we using computers and the internet to keep connected? Videos of interactions and horrible outcomes are what brought policing inequality home for many white Americans. What else have awoken what else have we awoken to as a result of other shared experiences? I left out a we in that one, but hey, there we go. Spiritual health can be thought to include hygiene of maintaining what we do for each other and other task management. What do we use for reminders to duties, and what would we like to use? Computers can hold shared knowledge. How do we already do so? How would we like to? We are concerned about cybercrime, cloud resources exacerbating rather than ameliorating inequality, and more. What are our cyber spiritual concerns? All of these we hold in our hearts today as we sing together, Draw the Circle Wide. Now let us discuss the 5 questions in the chat, which I'll reread first. Other than the obvious Zoom worship we're sharing and any online or remote work, how are we using computers and the internet to keep connected? Videos of interactions and horrible outcomes are what brought policing inequality home for many white Americans. What else have we awoken to as a result of others' shared experiences? Spiritual health can be thought to include the hygiene of maintaining what we do for each other and other task management. What do we use for reminders to duties? And what would we like to use? Computers can hold shared knowledge. How do we already do so? How would we like to? We are concerned about cybercrime, cloud resources exacerbating rather than ameliorating inequality, and more. What are our cyber spiritual concerns? I have answers. Oh, pardon me. I have answers to these questions I've prepared. Would anyone else like to speak? Um, and I don't know if we're a larger group, so maybe we should do the raised hands or yes in chat if you would like to share. Um, I see Pete's hand.
I'm very thankful for the internet, for the access to a huge number of recipes. I can now make fajitas, enchiladas. I made Greek spinach pie yesterday, and without my iPhone in the kitchen, I couldn't have done it.
Excellent. I'm going to share, I've got a lot of reminders we've got the Amazon Echo will say out loud, it's time for so-and-so to have their medicine for this time. I've also got, I take daily medicine and I've got a reminder in my phone that I have to tell it, okay, I've taken my medicine, or it will nag me every 5 minutes. It's time to take your medicine. Um, there's there's a lot of that I like that I rather than a to-do list on paper, a computer to-do list can keep at you until you tell it you've done the thing. Celia, I see Celia's hand.
Yes, I just have really gotten into texting with my children. That seems to be their mode of communication rather than a voice call sometimes. But it's really cool because I'll get a picture and there'll be a little kind of one sentence back and forth, and that's that. But I have a sense, they have a little sense of what I'm up to, and I get a little sense of what they're up to, and it means so much to have that connection.
Excellent. Lindy, followed by Cindy.
Since COVID-19 and I haven't been able to see my kids, my daycare kids, because of the internet, I get to see them 3 times a week because I do story time via Zoom.
Excellent. Cindy?
My daughter clued me into an app called Marco Polo, just like the game in the pool, Marco Polo. And it's a chance for you to create groups of people that you can have a chat with. But my granddaughter will take my daughter's phone and walk around the house showing me things in the house. Or she will be cooking and show me what she's cooking or what she's made. And of course, our mouths water because it's mostly chocolate something. And but it's in real time for her. And then I get a little notification on my phone. It just says, Allison is talking to you. And I go and play the video that she's made. And I can put a thumbs up or a heart or whatever. And then I can record right then and there something back to her. It's a great way to be interactive. It's not quite, immediate. I might see something an hour later, but Ellie seems to be enjoying being able to talk to us like that because we see each other from a distance, but this seems to be a more personal way for her to be close to us. And I really appreciate it.
It's really just like a text, only with a video. So you send a quick little video of what you want to say, and they send a quick little video back responding to it. So it's really easy for the kids because they don't have to type in and make sentences. And so the grandchildren are having a great time with it.
I just put Marco Polo into the chat as a reminder for folk who want to, it's a reminder to myself. Typing helps me remember the things. Okay, I see Deborah has a yes in the chat.
Unmute, there we go. So it's been such a wonderful thing that during this time, museums and galleries have put their exhibitions online. So that's one way to spend just wonderful time on the computer, looking at beautiful pieces of artwork and images. I mean, it's amazing what is available that was not available before. So what a great, enriching and wonderful thing that is.
Excellent. I've also got, so with the quarantine, oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a yes in the chat from Ben and Lou, which is actually Lou right now. Go ahead, Lou.
So I was a homeschooling parent for a very, very long time. And now I am a virtual homeschooling public school parent. And so much of education now is on the internet. And so much being able to keep the kids safe and home and still have access to so much information, much of which was free. So many apps became free, educational apps that normally were very expensive, that just so that people could homeschool their kids while they were out for COVID. And even before the crisis, there was always, the internet was always my number one source for information because there's just such a wealth of knowledge on there. Particularly for early childhood education and elementary education, there's just, it's very, Malcolm, please. It's very easy to get whatever you need and get lots of really amazing, fun activities. You go on Pinterest and you can find every cool craft activity in the world. So it's really been, I can't imagine being in this sort of situation, and not having the internet, just, from an educational standpoint.
Thank you, Lou. Lise, we have, you're up next. And you're speaking to mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So right before the pandemic, on March 1st, which is my son's birthday, he got a new acoustic guitar.
And I thought, well, I should take his old one and see if I can learn how to play guitar through the internet. So of course, in March came COVID and I was furloughed from my work and I had a lot of time and I got to do a lot of practice and find a lot of online lessons to play guitar, and I'm still playing.
Yay. Uh, could anyone wave hands if they want to discuss? I've got, is that you, Dot Shields?
Dot and Corinne have their hands.
Okay, excellent. Let's have Dot and then Corinne. Dot, you're speaking to mute.
How come it
Hey,
takes twice? Anyway.
if you try to unmute yourself and the co-host or host tries to unmute you at the same time, then one of you unmutes you and the other remutes you.
Okay, got it. Okay. I just want to tell you about family communication from a slightly older technology, namely FaceTime. My kids, when they finished college, basically scattered worldwide. And back then, it was still very expensive to call Japan or Switzerland, for example. And now we have, it's once you get all the hardware that you need to do it, we have FaceTime, and it is just so marvelous. And my grandkids, the ones who live in Switzerland, are now in their teens, and one has turned 20. And ever since I've had FaceTime, which is quite a number of years now, I have been aware that FaceTime keeps those distances from feeling so far away, and that you can do everything that I want to do with them except hug. And we just save that for the every year or so time that we have a physical visit. And it has meant so much to me, and I'm really very grateful for it. Now I want to ask you, Dennis, am I allowed to say some things that annoy me about the electronic communications? Or
Of
is this only
course.
just, okay.
Of course, fears were in the question.
Autocorrect annoys me a great deal because I don't always see the problem and it comes out with these weird things. And there's one other thing, but I've forgotten now what it is that is really annoys me a lot. So I'm sure that other people have pet peeves about the electronic technology too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dot. Let's hear from Corinne.
I just was going to add another positive where I was able to take 2 graduate classes this summer online through the university that I'm employed. And normally I would be way too exhausted to take a class from 6:30 till 9:30 at night and then drive home an hour. But because they were all virtual, it was really easy to do. And one of the professors would give us like a 20-minute break. And so you could actually have something to eat in between. I saw my classmates drinking wine during the class to relax. So it was like a totally different experience where it just made the logistics of learning so much more convenient for people who are working full time, and it just created a little bit of a cushion to actually show up. So I was grateful. Like I would never have signed up for those classes if I had to drive there and drive home. So that was sort of another positive of the computer technology.
I'm going to follow that up with a positive that is related. That is, for this new job, I had 5 interviews over the span of over 4 different days in 2 weeks, and I'm really glad that I wasn't driving and doing that anxiety drive of, "Oh, I'm going to say the wrong thing," or my anxiety saying in the back of my head, uh, they could get someone so much better than you. Why are you even bother trying out for that? I didn't have any of that. Uh, I was in my house, right on this couch, and ready to just, I could just be looking at my notes and being ready to interview for each of the interviews. I had my 3 screens instead of just talking to people without all the computer assistance. And I do use a lot of computer assistance. So having interacting with people, worrying only about the shirt, and the pants could be just cargo pants that I wear day to day, nice and comfortable, not wearing any shoes. It was a great, very different interview process for me this time. It was wonderful. And I see your hand.
Yeah, I wanted to also agree with Dot. When my son was serving in Iraq, we had FaceTime that he was serving on a base, and every day his wife could check in with him while he was at war. So it was crazy. And then I have a negative too. It's kind of the creepy part of the internet, where we might be sitting here having a conversation about something, and the next thing you know, I get ads for that product on my Facebook page of like high heels that I would never buy, that I would never have searched for or talked about like in a phone conversation. But it's like, all right, they're definitely listening to my conversations in my living room. It's scary when those things happen. And it's happened multiple times.
They can also do that, just share. There was okay. I think, there we go.
Seriously, we were just talking about it with my phone present in the room, and I started getting ads on my feed for this product we were talking about. Like, all right, that's creepy.
Oh no, Deborah, I was seeing you doing your craft.
Celia, Lisa and Bob Whittemore have a hand up for them. Celia.
So along that line, Anne, I've got to tell you this joke that I heard online. It said, my son asked me why I wouldn't talk to him on the phone, and I told him I was nervous that the National Security Agency was listening, and he laughed, and then I laughed, and then Siri laughed.
Exactly, yes. Oh.
That relates to your sense of someone over my shoulder. I had a couple of things that are really provoked by these wonderful contributions of everyone else. And one is that our son knows that I love Maui. Maui is the home of my heart. And so what he'll do on his 6-mile hikes is he'll wait until he gets up on one of the western volcanoes. And when he's hiking back down, he'll call Bob and I on FaceTime. And half the time he'll have the phone on him and he's talking and there are clouds behind his head. And then the other half of the time, he turns the phone around so we can see the trail, which I've been on part of that trail, of him coming down off the mountain. And there's the island of Molokai in the distance and the beautiful ocean. And so that's been just lovely. Not only are we having time with him, but we're having time with him in a place that we love. And the other thing was provoked by Corinne's comment. And that was, the Zoom experience of meeting the Living by Heart's poetry group. We had been having a problem with attendance, in part because the meeting doesn't begin until 7:30, and a number of our members don't want to be out driving in the wintertime at 7:30 and then home at 9 or 9:30 at night. And the Zoom meeting has done away with a lot of that. And as in your case, we're getting people who are coming more regularly because they don't have to get in their car and make the physical trip. So as with you too, Dennis, the idea that we can do this on Zoom and share each other. The other thing is it's just so lovely to see all your faces and see you smiling and seeing your reactions. And seeing you tell stories. It's just a sense of intimacy and closeness that we can't have physically, but we can certainly have it in the heart.
Thank you. And I've lost, oh, it was Celia, yes.
I have a negative, and it's under my control, but I can't seem to control it. Is that I get caught, but I say I get caught into FaceTime, not FaceTime, but Facebook, and some of these others, and I really, I'm much better at it now because I recognize it. But I do. I just get started. I get started, and then I just keep going and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. The one good part of that is I often end up on sometimes soundtracks of musicals, which I love. So that's kind of cool. But the other thing is that the fake news. In terms of Facebook in particular, Twitter, Instagram, and the rest, I think that's a major fault or deficit with the internet, in that we are spreading, the connection with people is phenomenal, but the connection with fact-checked information is outrageous.
Thank you, Celia. Thank you, someone's puppy. Okay, I see.
Chris Woodcock was in line.
Okay, and it's at 11:19. We are going to be saving time for breakout rooms, so we'll have just maybe a couple more. So, Chris Woodcock, you're next.
Hi, I have one. I have real mixed feelings about electronic surveillance and what's happening with that. It in some cases it's great, in some places it's awful, and it probably goes back to the so-called Patriot Act, where the spying on us all really began with Mr. Bush, and there are great things out of it. I love the fact that we can know how much movement people are doing, how that's affecting the spread of COVID. I think that's probably really helpful to society. By the same token, it scares the bejesus out of me that anybody can sort of tell, maybe at a meta level where I am and what I'm doing and where I'm moving. But, the technology is there sort of scares me. On the other hand, I love having, a Nest camera that I can look outside and see what animals have been creeping around my house in the middle of the night and what they've got in their mouths. But the fact that I can be seen, and the concern that, gee, is somebody looking at me right now because there's a camera on this computer. I know my desktop computer, I've never had a camera on, and it's very hard having business meetings on that because I just get a little icon. But I just don't want a camera on my my computer like that, and it's a real mixed bag thing. But it's got great blessings, and it's got such downsides. But yeah, it's like everything, the sort of the mixed emotions. Like when your daughter comes home from at 2 a.m. with a Gideon Bible in her arm, mixed emotions.
Thank you, Chris. I assure you, your camera was on, and at least I was looking at you. So, and Dick, I see your hand. Celia and Dick. Still muted. You may have to unmute yourselves.
All right, we all right now?
Yes.
I'm amazed and in awe of cyber communication and the cyber possibilities, but I wondered about any protections that any of you use who are computer savvy. Your house being as internet friendly as it is, as you described it, which sounds wonderful, makes me wonder if it's like having another person in your house that you don't know. And I wondered if you have thought about that, or anybody has figured out any way of drawing the circle a little closer, maybe. I know that's probably not you, but it concerns me.
Yeah, I have thought about it, and basically it amounts to hearkening back to what Chris Woodcock was saying. It was in the Bush administration that we only ever got to hold on to the illusion of privacy. So I just let go of the illusion that I had privacy and said I'll take the shiny beads that the tech corporations will give me because I'm paying the cost anyway. I might as well get the shiny baubles. We've got tech companies listening to us. We go out to the stores and to restaurants, and there's that surveillance already there. So giving up just basically what we need, the solutions to it are much larger than one person or one family. We need the hackers to make sure that basically everyone, the elite and powerful as well as the little guy, lose their privacy as well, so that um, just spread the joy and spread the concern is where I think that goes. There's basically you'd have to go off the grid to only be surveilled while you're out with other people who are not off the grid. So that's the only way to it, I think. But we do need to have our breakout rooms, and then so I'd like to still keep time for this for those breakout rooms. I'm glad that people are psyched to be sharing more stuff, and I hope that we can have more discussions either on the Facebook group or some of us could get together at other times. Um, so I'm going to just, our benediction now is a simple go in peace, and we're going to have our from Singing the Journey 1057, Go Lift It Up.
Lifted up, Lord, bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey to peace in the brightness of day. Oh, lifted up, love, bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace in the brightness of day.
Thank you. First Parish welcomes your continuing support. However, if you are struggling in these uncertain times, please take care of yourself. To make a donation to our ministry, information is online, is in the chat. And thank you for joining us in worship today. Oh, I just put that, I was reading from the other part, but in a moment, you'll be invited into one of our coffee hour breakout rooms. You'll have about 7